be kind to folks, and just I think love one another, and be willing to help wherever it is. And that's kind of a big part of the reason why I think I got into the industry that I did. Right? It's a focus of wanting to help.
It's the Health in the Real World podcast. It's time to start the show with Chris Janke as your host. Here to give you everything that you need when it comes to fitness strategies. We keep it simple and easy. It's your roadmap to get healthy. You don't need equipment and you don't need a gym. Just the right strategies to get you fit and trim.
Welcome to Health in the Real World. I'm Chris Janke. I'm here today with Ian Fagala. Ian, how you doing today?
I'm good, Chris, man. How are you?
Great. I'm doing great. I really do appreciate you joining me today on the show. It sounds like you and I have a lot in common. First, can you give a quick introduction to all the viewers out there as far as who you are, what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So Ian Fagala, I've been a veteran trainer for about the last 20 years, run a small online nutrition and coaching focused business on men only. So called Fagala Coaching Systems, and been doing that for a number of years. And just, hey man, I'm passionate about helping guys live honestly the best life that they can. So.
That's awesome. So you have 20 years experience. How long have you been doing this iteration of what you're doing now, the online coaching and stuff
so
for men?
online coaching, I think probably as a lot of us have experienced, has really accelerated this year, for the fitness industry in general. But I've been doing it for probably 2 or 3 years now. I've done some standard personal training, face-to-face, which I still do a little bit of that as well, and I love that aspect. But the online side of things really helps us, or I think as fitness professionals, allows us to really work with a lot of other folks that maybe we didn't have an opportunity to before. And current state has accelerated that. So
Right. Yeah, I think what's great about the online model too is that, back when there was only brick and mortar, there were the gyms and then there were some private studios. It was really, more just like who lives near you, right? Like who's within a 3-mile radius of your gym, and that's pretty much your target. And now you can get very, very focused as far as what type of training, what type of nutrition coaching you do. And now instead of it being location based for the people who find you, it's really more like who jives with your method, who likes your personality, and who can you really work well with. So I've seen a big difference with that in since last March, right?
yeah, absolutely. No, I agree 100%. I think one of the other things that I really dig about the online space is now we're not time dependent, right? I mean, I think as you've probably experienced, when you're training face to face, like 6 a.m. is a busy time. So you don't
Right.
spots in a 6 a.m. time slot. And then if folks couldn't make it or something came up and life got in the way, then they couldn't train that day. And
Yeah.
that's unfortunate, right? So being able to deliver things a little bit differently, I think is a big benefit for not only us as trainers, but also for our clients.
Yeah, it's great. I'm done a little bit early today because two of my clients who I normally train in the afternoon, so I would train them right after you. They had to run an errand or something, and they had to drive an hour away. So they just came to one of my classes this morning, and it provides them that flexibility. And if they couldn't make a class, then like you said, they could do a video that I've produced in advance, and they can do that whenever they want. And it kind of gives that flexibility, which is great. So Ian, talk a little bit about, I know one thing as a fitness trainer, I've encountered this, and I've heard a lot of other trainers kind of talk like this, is when you're talking to a beginner, let's say, somebody who has really not had fitness on their mind for a long time, and you've been a trainer for 20 years, and you're talking to a beginner, and maybe they have sort of this misconceived notion that somehow you're special or I'm special, right? That somehow our bodies respond differently to the training than maybe theirs would. So I want to sort of humanize you a little bit, and myself as well. I want to talk about our biggest challenges and our biggest struggles. So where do you struggle personally in your own personal fitness and your own personal health? And then how have you maybe overcome that in the past?
Yeah, so great question, man. I'll say one of the biggest focuses or things that I really have to dial in or pay a lot of attention to is my weekends. So,
Mm,
the fitness side of things come really naturally for me, right? It's easy for me to get up. I'm an early riser. I can get up at 4:30 or 5 a.m., get in a workout. that doesn't really bother me. Nutrition's always been one of my biggest focuses. And so, you know, by the time Friday kind of afternoon rolls around, you know, it's really easy to say, all right, focused or nutritional habits for the week are out the window. And, you know, maybe it's my wife and I have a little bit of opportunity to sit down and have a drink, or, you know, maybe we go out to dinner. So those are times when I start to kind of really lose a little bit of control or struggle a little bit. So that's been one opportunity that I've really had to dial into. And for me, a part of really overcoming that is just paying some pretty close attention to just my habits. So, you know, eat some of the very same things, honestly, on Saturday and Sunday, you know, early part of the day than what I would like during the week. So, you know, and again, I'm kind of a creature of habit, maybe not for everybody, but I can kind of eat, you know, the same breakfast and the same lunch every day, knowing that I've got some variation coming in with dinner and doing things with the family. So that's been one thing that's really been successful for me is, you know, Saturday, Sunday, I try and keep the same first two meals of the day, keep them the same thing, and then vary a little bit on the evening dinner, you know, on the evening meals, so that I kind of keep everything pretty consistent.
Nice. I'm not as far along as you. I feel like this weekend, for example, all I did was watch movies all weekend. It was just my brain just needed that. I'm like, I'm just done. But I think the benefit of what I did this weekend was that by the time I woke up this morning, I'm the same as you. I woke up at like 5:30. Like I was ready. My body, my brain was like, all right, dude, you had 2 days. It's time to get back on the horse. And so I don't know. That's maybe a little extreme for some people, but I am a creature of habit as well. Like legitimate. Like I could have every single day almost identical as far as what I eat, when I work out, what workout I do, uh, the position I sleep in. You know, everything. But then sometimes, you know, my body kind of rebels, and like you said, Friday afternoon comes around. For me, it's like Friday late morning, because I actually do my classes with my clients, and so I'm done with those at 10 a.m. Pacific time where I'm here. And 10 a.m. my class, and I just tell them, I'm like, guys, I'm done. I've done 9 classes this week. I'm done. And the last class is just, I'm kind of like going through the motions. But yeah, I definitely struggle with that as well on the weekends, just kind of letting myself go.
Yeah, it's such a, and I'll tell you, it's a kind of a part of the approach that I've adopted for a lot of my guys that I work with is really just trying to kind of keep a ruthless habit focus, right? Because
Yeah.
you know, and one of the things I always kind of tell guys is like the outcomes are only, you know, we only have so much control over those, but you know, what do we use, or what do we use to get to those outcomes? And it's the habits, right? So it's
Yep.
eating the same meals, or measuring meals, or you know, paying attention to what fruit, you know, making sure you're getting your fruit and veggies in, and things like that. It's the really ruthless habit focus, I think, that kind of helps you get to that outcome. So that's one of the things that I really kind of strive for, and I think it's been really successful for the guys that I've worked with too.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think for me, it's like sort of a combination between being super highly, like extremely disciplined and tracking everything, and having sort of that leeway and listening to the body as well, where it's like, you know, I don't want to eat that meal today, and I give myself permission to not eat that meal. I used to force it down, and it just got old. I was like, I don't want to eat this chicken and broccoli right now. I just don't like, I don't want to eat anything right now. And so I think for a beginner too, that's kind of tough, or even somebody who's just been at it for maybe a year. It's like, you need enough structure to get the results. And I've heard trainers talk about the 80-20. Sometimes it's the 90-10 or whatever it is, but really having the majority of what you do be very clean, very healthy, and then giving yourself that permission. Do you find yourself doing a little bit of that as well?
Yeah, absolutely, man. And I'll say, so I wrote an article a couple of years back, and one of the focuses of it was really like I got a sweet tooth, man. So
Yeah.
I eat sweets on the daily, but for me, it's about management, right? Because I know that if I don't have something, you know, really every day, that by day 4 or 5, like I'm just gonna blow it out of the water.
Yeah.
So for me, it's, and again, you know, we got to find, everybody's gonna kind of find their sweet spot, but I know that if I have a little bit of chocolate, or maybe just a small bowl of ice cream in the evenings, like, you know, after dinner, that's my time, man. After dinner, late at night, kids are in bed. You know, that's kind of the time for me. So again, it's about management, right? And
Right.
keeping kind of those rules and keeping to those habits. So that's one that definitely works for me. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What's funny, and I always bring up this example of, and you said you have 3 kids, I have 4 kids, kids' birthday parties, you know, and a couple of years ago, when my 9-year-old was maybe 3 or 4 at the time. And I was thinking, I'm going to be going to a lot of these kids' birthday parties. I don't want to feel like I'm the only one not eating anything. Cause it's like pizza, ice cream and cake and maybe some candy or something. And I said, fine, just go for it. Just do it. So what I did though, to sort of hedge my bet a little bit and to make it not that bad, I always want to feel like I'm able to, if I want to, like I feel free. So, but I would eat a big meal before I went to the party. And then at the party, maybe I'll have one slice of pizza instead of like 7. And, but every time somebody always say, oh my God, I thought you were a trainer. You're allowed to eat that. And so that's where it's, give them some education. Like, look, I'm allowed to eat whatever I want. It's just that I want to have it in moderation, just like what you were saying. So kids' birthday parties, man, that's the thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Because if it's not and so what's interesting, I love that we can kind of maybe play off your approach and mine, right? So you said that you would eat a big meal so that maybe you don't feel as hungry or want to eat as much. Now I kind of do a little bit of the opposite, to be honest.
Mhm.
Like I'll eat less before that kid's birthday party or before whatever that event may be, so that I know that I've got a little extra room. So
Right.
like that's cool though, because we could, there's two completely different approaches,
Right.
but we sort of still end at the same goal, right?
Yeah. See, I think that's great too, and that's one reason why I wanted to start this podcast last August when I started it, is that I realized that I was giving my clients all this information and it was like Chris's way. And I realized that there are so many different ways to get fit and healthy. And there are definitely principles, right? Like you can't just eat chocolate cake for breakfast, lunch, and dinner for the next 6 months. But do I occasionally eat chocolate cake? Sure. It sounds like you do as well. But it's not the bulk of it. It would be funny. I was just thinking of this as you were talking about how you eat your cake after your kids go to bed. And I don't know if your wife is even there eating cake with you, but it'd be hilarious if like all of a sudden Ian starts gaining all this weight and everybody's like, I don't know how he's gaining weight. It's like, I never see him eat anything but this clean food. And you're like sneaking chocolate cake after everybody goes to sleep.
Right, right. Yeah, it's funny. It's kind of even gotten into our kids sometimes. Like they know that sometimes Dad will go down to down to the kitchen after they go to bed. So every once in a
Right.
while, like a couple of footsteps coming down the stairs, and you're like, "Hey, Dad, can I have a bed snack?"
You're right. Every night they're like pretending to go to sleep because they want a little bite of dad's cake. That's
Exactly.
awesome. Kids are smart, man. They're smart. They'll figure it out.
For sure.
So, Ian, what do you tell people who, let's say they go a little bit more than the 20%. Let's say their 80/20 turns into like a 50/50 and they've like fallen off the wagon. Like do you have a pep talk for those people when they do that? What do you tell your clients?
Yeah, man, 100%. So we're guys, like sports analogy come pretty naturally, right? So
Yeah.
my thought is always like, think of yourself as a pitcher, right? And you just threw the nastiest little, ball in the dirt ever. Like
Right.
you got to get back on the mound and you've got to forget about the last pitch and you got to be able to continue to throw strikes, right? So that's exactly what I tell them. So let the past be the past and just focus forward,
That's cool.
because there's so many people, man, as you mentioned, like, you know, you fall off the wagon on Wednesday and it's
Yeah.
really easy to be like, you know what, this week's toast. I'll start fresh on Monday. Right.
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah, you got to have that short memory. So yeah, man, there's, I think, and I'm sure you do too. All of us trainers have it, but yeah, you get that pep talk. It's, hey, keep a short memory. Let the past be the past, forget about it. And let's move forward and focus on what you can control going on from here on out.
I love that. Keep a short memory. That's great. You don't want to be even dwelling on what you ate, last night for dinner if it wasn't ideal. Just like move on. That's awesome. I love the sports analogy too. So you're in St. Louis, right? Are you a Cardinals fan?
Oh, buddy. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. In Little League, I was a Cardinal for 4 years. So I have a
Okay.
special affinity for the Cardinals. I think I've only been to St. Louis once, but I love the Cardinals too. But
Yeah. Oh, great,
yeah.
great baseball city for sure. We got a legacy here for that, from that side of things. So it's cool. Yeah, and they're a good team. So
Yeah,
hopefully,
yeah.
good things to come this year too. So
Awesome. Yeah, baseball is a fun sport. All right, Ian, I want to give you a chance to go a little bigger picture. So we talk a lot about specific, health, wellness strategies. I wanted to give you a chance to give a motivational speech. So let's say a university or maybe a corporation calls you in to do a motivational speech about life principles, about goal setting, whatever direction you want to go, what's like your 1 to 2 minute motivational speech?
Cool. Good question. Um, you know, I mean, I think the big picture focus is, if we're talking just big picture, right? Fitness, nutrition, all that aside, it's be kind, man. Be kind to everybody that you meet in this life, because I think, we don't really know what any one person is dealing with or going through. And I think that sort of mindset or that idea, it probably hasn't been any more pinpointed than it has over the last year with what the country's been dealing with, right? I mean, people are in a lot of people are in a pretty rough space. I've been blessed,
Yeah.
and that it's not affected myself and my family directly too much. Now, we've had some extended family and friends that have had some effects, but be kind to folks, and just, I think, love one another, and be willing to help wherever it is. And that's kind of a big part of the reason why I think I got into the industry that I did, right? It's a focus of wanting to help and to give back, and help folks, and teach people some of the lessons and habits and things that I've done that have helped me. So yeah, be kind, man. It's pretty simple, I think, in my mind. Sometimes a little tougher to actually live out, but that's kind of the mindset.
That's great. And then, Ian, how do we get in touch with you? Your website, social media?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've got a website, ianfagala.com. So Fagala Coaching Systems is the business. We work with guys, to help them really, just like I said, live better lives, live authentic lives, lose weight, get fit, whatever you kind of need. So those are kind of the focuses. Obviously on social as well. Fagala Coaching Systems on Facebook, and really I kind of stick to Facebook. I kind of keep it simple. I'm not on Insta or any of the other ones, so I'm pretty simple in that respect. So.
Nice. Sounds good. Well, Ian, I really do appreciate you joining us today on Health in the Real World. Best of luck to you, and we'll definitely be in touch.
Awesome. Hey, thanks, Chris. Appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to the Health in the Real World show. Make sure to like and subscribe and comment down below. Visit mycorebalance.com to learn more.